Sharon Williams is Regional Director for Safety and Security at the Morgans Hotel Group and a Chartered Security Professional. Sharon, you're speaking in the Security Management Education Theatre at IFSEC International 2012 about the demands placed on today's security manager. How do you feel the role of the security manager has changed in recent times?
It's changed dramatically. It's no longer a traditional site supervisor that turns up to work and gets promoted and becomes the boss. It actually is a career path, and the demands upon those individuals as they move through their career is to meet the business needs. Security has to be a business enabler and a business enhancer, and therefore it's evolving into a risk enterprise environment rather than just simply you're not on the list, you're not coming in, or target hardening and loss prevention. So you have to think smarter and wiser.
In terms of the in-house operations, Sharon, how do you achieve buy-in from staff members and those on the board of directors to what you're doing?
I think it's about meeting their needs rather than coming from the perspective of we can't do that, I'm afraid, because it's got this problem, that problem. It's actually, what is it you want? Give us the time to think about it. Take an analogy which is similar to an elastic band, which you can stretch and stretch until it snaps. So you can actually be flexible with the assessment and the risk aspect, and you can give them what they need, but they have to also realise they have to compromise a little. So rather than just taking the negative approach, you go for the positive. And of course, then you've actually delivered what they've asked for, although they haven't actually necessarily understood that you've modified it.
And how do you show creativity and innovation in the security manager's role? And what's the best way of demonstrating impact on the bottom line for the host company?
I think without a doubt, you as the individual, the leader, have to think differently, you have to think laterally, you have to think out of the box, and from that you become the ideas person. Becoming the ideas person, when you're sitting around the board table, which I do often, and I'm hearing of new development issues, new innovative things within the business, I'm already thinking about what potentially litigation could be created. I spent many years in enforcement, in police enforcement, so I take the view of if I was to prosecute my company, what points would I need to prove? And on that basis, I then make sure I've got a rebuttal to make sure that I'm not proving those points, so therefore I'm not in a situation where I will be prosecuted. It's a definitely gamekeeper turned poacher, but that's what keeps the business alive, and I'm in a vibrant organisation that actually is driven by entertainment and the fast lane, so I have to think faster than the enforcement.
And finally, Sharon, what sort of future do you see for security personnel here in the UK?
I think we're at a real cusp. It's really exciting. I mean, we've had several years now with licensing and a different approach, but I think what we've got to do is we've got to look beyond the old traditional entry methods. It's no longer that you are X, you're retired, you're this, and neither is it the new approach of, well, straight out of university, because one hasn't got the quality of the other. So you still need to have a career path, and there's nothing wrong with starting at the bottom. As a police officer, I was always impatient to get off the beat. I'd felt that it was a waste of my time. But actually, those days have stood me well because I did the rock face. And from that, I built myself up into someone that's got a vast amount of experience, topped up and accredited by professional development. So if I'm to sit as next to a chartered accountant, I too need to be that chartered security professional. And the only way to achieve that is many years putting your time in and moving forward.
Thank you very much, Sharon.